All right. Now let's turn to U.S. presidential candidate on the GOP, former governor, as well as former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley. Ambassador Haley, welcome.
Thanks so much. It's great to be with you.
So, Ambassador Haley, I want you to just comment a little bit on what your plans are. I understand you're coming back to the Granite State.
You know, we are coming back to New Hampshire, and we are going to be all over. We're doing town halls. We're doing Women for Nikki events. We're doing Veterans for Nikki events. We are going to be touching as many hands as we can, and I hope that all of your listeners will go to NikkiHaley.com and go to the events page, and you can see all of the many places that we're going to be going to. We're going to be speaking to the Rockingham County GOP. We're going to do politics and eggs at St. A's. Our Women for Nikki Town Hall will be in Manchester. Our Veterans for Nikki Town Hall will be in Concord. We're going to the barbecue with Scott Brown and doing a fun event there, and then we'll be doing a town hall with WMUR in Manchester. So
fabulous.
Lots of fun things we're looking forward to, and we hope that everybody will come out, go to NikkiHaley.com on our events page and join us.
That's great, Ambassador. So let me ask you this. Right now you're in Iowa, if I understand correctly. What's it like in Iowa? What's happening? What's resonating? And what are you up to there?
So we have been in Iowa the last few days, and again, just like New Hampshire, they want you to come and answer the hard questions and see as many people as you can. So we started in Des Moines. We ended up in Waterloo. We went to Dubuque last night, and we're in Davenport today. And, the main thing that people are talking about is they really feel the effects of inflation. They are furious about the debt and the out-of-control spending that we've seen Congress do. They're worried about transparency in schools, and parents want to know what their kids are being told in school and want to have full access to that. We're seeing, worries about crime and the open border, and we're seeing issues about national security. And so people realize that it's time we've got to move forward. We don't need drama. We don't need chaos. We just need a fighter. We need somebody that's going to fight for us and get our country back on track. And that's what we're focused on doing, is making sure that America can be strong and proud again.
Wonderful. And so, we have Florida Governor Ron DeSantis here in New Hampshire, and he is highly likely to announce a presidential bid next week. Any thoughts? I know you were out there commenting. I saw some article on The Hill talking about your very kind welcoming him to the race.
Look, I am very comfortable about where I stand. I have been a two-term governor that took a double-digit unemployment state and turned it into an economic powerhouse. I was at the UN. I didn't deal with one country. I dealt with 193. So I know what it's like to work and run a state and have been a chief executive. I also have a full amount of foreign policy experience, and so I welcome him to the race along with anybody else that comes in. But at the end of the day, people want someone who's going to fight for them. They want someone who knows the issues. They want someone that's going to be focused on results. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm an accountant. I've been a problem solver all my life. We've got a country to save, and I'm determined to do it.
Perfect. What about the border? I know we've had some developments here with Title 42 ending, and I know you've been talking about immigration. I've been paying attention to your campaign, and I know you were out there. That's one of the issues that you're really spending some time talking to.
Vikram, I'll tell you, I have been the only candidate that this cycle that has gone to the border, and I didn't just go pull a Kamala and leave. I went 400 miles down that border, and you are not ready for what I saw. I mean, the idea that most people wake up in the morning, they get their coffee and they listen to the news. These ranchers, they get their coffee and they go see if anyone died crossing the fence. They go and see if there are any little kids that are left behind that they have to turn over to Border Patrol. We met with multiple sheriffs, and the sheriffs said that before 7 a.m. they've rounded up multiple illegal immigrants. They've turned them over to Border Patrol only to see them released until their court date years from now. When I asked Border Patrol about the job that they do, they said, you know what our job is? We're glorified babysitters. They don't let us do our job. 5 million illegal immigrants have crossed that border. We had enough fentanyl that crossed the border last year that would kill every single American. The number one cause of death for adults 18 to 49 is now fentanyl. Don't think for a second China doesn't know what they're doing, and the cartels are helping them do it. We've got to get this back on track. It's why I've said that when I was governor, I passed one of the toughest illegal immigration laws in the country. We did a mandatory E-Verify program that said every business had to prove that everyone they hired was here legally. I think we need to do a national E-Verify program. I think we need to stop giving hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal immigrants. I think we need to defund sanctuary cities. I think we need to go back to remain in Mexico because nobody wants to remain in Mexico. And I think we need to keep the provisions of Title 42. And instead of catch and release, we need to go to catch and deport. That's the only way we can stop the bleeding that's happening at the border.
Gotcha. You mentioned Parents' Bill of Rights, and parents want to know. Here in New Hampshire, we just had a state-level legislation which failed yesterday. The Parents' Bill of Rights was voted down by a bunch of Democrats, and so parents don't have the right to know what's going on. Is there a national solution to this problem? Because I'm hearing about it all across various states.
Absolutely. We, as parents, we have one job, and that's to make sure that we give our kids the best upbringing and the best education we possibly can. It is absolutely ludicrous that school bureaucrats think they know better than parents. It is absolutely irresponsible that school bureaucrats would keep information from parents and not let them see exactly what their kids are being told in school. It's the reason that we've got to make sure that there's full transparency in our schools. Teachers need to be allowed to teach, but parents need to be allowed to parent. And we need to make sure that not only do we have full transparency in the classrooms across our country, it's also the reason we need to let parents decide which schools their kids go to. Because when they try and pull something like this, no parent should feel like their child is trapped in a school where they don't know what they're being taught.
I totally agree. Not only as a parent, but as a former candidate here in the state, I believe education choice and parental rights seem to be at the base of every single person's. The thing is, I don't think it's controversial, right? And we've got parents galore. Everyone I've talked to says, of course I want to know. Of course I want to know. So, it's disappointing to see how politics can sort of get in the way of what you could call common sense.
It's demeaning. It's disrespectful to parents. It's assuming anytime government thinks they know better than individuals, you've got a problem. And we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing it across the federal government. It's why when I'm president, I won't meet with governors once a year. I'll meet with them every quarter. And the key is we need to push a lot of this down to the states, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's anything else, is move more to the states because the federal government has gotten so out of control. And we're seeing that trickle down to the states. We need to empower people. You've got I love the motto in New Hampshire, live free or die, but there's a lot of truth to that. Government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never intended to be all things to all people. And this government intrusion that we're seeing happening across the board in our lives, from our kids, to the debt, to what's happening on the border, it's out of control. And we've got to have someone that's going to go back and fight for these freedoms and fight for the American people to be back in control of their government.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. So, Ambassador Haley, before I let you go, I know you've been talking about or calling for the governor of New York to pardon Daniel Penny after that fatal New York City chokehold or whatever you call it. I'd love to give you an opportunity to share your thoughts on that.
Well, I'm the wife of a combat veteran. My husband's in the military. And, you look at Daniel Penny, he's a former Marine. They are like, it is in their blood to defend and protect. And here he went on a subway and had someone who was having challenges, who was threatening everyone and threatening their lives on a subway. And he did what military members are trained to do. He went to protect the people that were around him. He went to protect himself. And here, when this happens, we should go and understand that, look, what would have happened if he wouldn't have done this? How many people would have been hurt if he wouldn't have done this? So rather than Alvin Bragg going and charging him the way he has without a full investigation, what the governor of New York needs to do is say, I'm going to pardon this man because he actually saved lives in the process. No, he didn't want what happened to have happened, but he did save people, he did protect people, and understand that his intentions were to make sure that he kept people safe. We should never have a situation where we're charging someone like this, because that's why people won't step in when they see people in trouble. That's why they're scared to do anything to defend themselves or defend their people, because they don't think at the end of the day that the system's going to work and have their back.
Yeah. So if you have just another minute, I want to throw one other idea at you real quick. I don't know if you saw what's happening in Minneapolis. The Minneapolis State House and State Senate passed a bill or it's buried in another bill, effectively creating a bias registry. Seems quite Orwellian to me to have someone keeping track of what's said. So if you mispronounce someone, or if you post a Bible verse online that might be interpreted as critical of individuals of any race, sex, or gender, wear a T-shirt expressing love for Harry Potter, or write an article claiming that COVID-19 might have been a bioweapon, you're going to be put in this registry. Kind of disturbing to me.
It's total insanity. It's total insanity in terms of what we're seeing happen. And so, I mean, the idea that we, have government sitting there trying to look at our lives the way they have and trying to control what we say or do and monitor, that's what happens in China. That's what happens in communist countries. That's not America. We have to fight for our freedoms every step of the way. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to do and be anything we want to do without government getting in the way. What they're doing is they're taking individual groups and they're making the majority of people deal with this. And that's not what we need.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Ambassador Haley, we're going to let you go. Enjoy your time in Iowa. We look forward to seeing you here in the Granite State next week.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, also a U.S. presidential candidate. This is Vikram Manchamani filling in for Jack Heath on Good Morning New Hampshire, and we're going to go take a quick